Okay, so I watched Jubilee's one progressive versus 20 far-right conservatives, as in Mehdi Hasan sits down with the Zoomerwaffen and tries to figure out how it is how they believe what they believe. And man, this was really, really entertaining in many different ways. Mehdi Hasan is an insufferable liar, right? In so many different ways. Mehdi Hasan is just lies through his teeth. And I think one thing that's important to remember is Mehdi Hasan is a skilled debater. He is very good tactically at putting his opponents off guard, and we saw this all the way through. The reason that he was constantly talking, constantly interrupting, constantly trying to divert from what was actually being said is because he knows how to debate, and none of the young men and women who were debating against him had the level of experience that he had. And he was constantly throwing out personal jabs, he was constantly interrupting and preventing people from making a point. He was doing everything he could to maintain control of the debate, which, frankly, with 20 people that he's got to do this constantly with, is actually quite impressive. And I have to say, I think the Zoomerwaffen lost this debate. I think they made some, just frankly, cardinal errors that clearly come from inexperience. And Mehdi Hasan, you'll notice that he has a kind of safety net in what he's doing, that he is constantly leaning into the current moral status quo. So he can just lay out what the boundaries of the moral status quo are, and when the Zoomerwaffen step over them, he can go, well, I mean, like, that's crazy, bro. You're crazy, bro. I don't have to morally justify what I think. I don't have to morally discredit what you think. I can just say, that's crazy. Millions of people are watching this, and you've just said that you're evil, blah, blah, blah. And that's literally all he has had to do. And he can just sit there safe in the knowledge that he is winning this debate. And I'm sorry, this is the case. He's definitely won this debate in the public perception. But I think it's worth talking about Mehdi Hasan a little bit first, because he is just such an inveterate liar. Like in this particular clip, like this I just found unbelievably. Look at the smug look on his face. He knows he's got this man because the guy can't prove him wrong. He has no personal experience of going there, and he clearly doesn't have the sort of statistics memorized, right? So, for example, London is 37% white British in the 2021 census. It's probably lower than that now. And so to say London is a very British city, or that the British aren't losing the culture, I mean, he's an Indian. He is part of the British losing their culture. And the English are definitely minority in London. So he's just lying through his teeth, right? This is just a flat out lie. And he's telling it because he knows the other guy can't immediately refute it, right? And this is just the way that he debates. Truth is not important to him. Getting one over on the person that he's talking to is important. And there's another example here where the guy,
settlers from the 1500s. So,
you don't look very Native American to me.
I am Native American.
Right. So the guy's claiming that he's native to America because his ancestors have been in America for 400 years or whatever it is. Mehdi Hasan says, no, that's not true. Europeans aren't indigenous to America. They're not native to America. But as you can see in the clip next to him that Drew has posted here, Mehdi Hasan has made precisely that argument about himself in Britain because he was born in Britain. So he's like, oh, I'm native to Britain. It's like, again, he's just lying, right? He's just a liar. But the problem is, when you're debating an inveterate liar, is just like, the debate isn't about finding truth, right? The debate isn't about factual accuracy. It's not even about moral rectitude. It's about whether the other guy can get you off your game enough. And if he just lies repeatedly to your face to outrage you, to make you seem like you don't have a solid position from which you're arguing from, then that's how he wins. That's how debates are won. It is not won on the facts. I mean, Mehdi Hasan has said some truly incredible things in his past. As you can see here, he compared homosexuals to pedophiles and said non-Muslims are animals. Right? I mean, he had to come out and apologise for this, obviously. But the point is that Mehdi Hasan is an Islamist in progressive clothing. And everything that he says is 100% self-serving. If he concedes any of these points, then what he concedes is that he is in fact a colonizer, and he is in fact part of the problem. So he is emotionally committed to this being, oh no, we have to be libs forever. It doesn't matter what damage immigration has done to your country. It doesn't matter what is being taken from you, from people like me. That's not relevant. I am not just emotionally, but morally committed. I can't go the other way. And the only time I can is when it's my group, right? This is against your group, not for my group. When it's for his group, he is as far-right nationalist as anyone could be. And Callum does a great write-up here, talking about Mehdi Hasan. Really, really good. He says, Mehdi's parents are Shia Muslims who, once their nation got independence from the British, fled that independence, not for a neighbouring Islamic Pakistan, but 95 white British Swindon. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Mehdi Hasan is a son of Swindon. Great. Anyway, he went to a private school that cost $200K for a single student's education. Jesus Christ. And he called Muslims animals. Oh yeah, he did a debate with Richard Dawkins where he told him that he honestly believes that Muhammad went to the moon or heaven or whatever on a winged horse, which, hilarious. He said that forced marriages don't exist, and then British Muslims have got to own up to the issue of forced marriages. He says, to summarise, his British career cements him as a joke, but an Islamist immigrant figure utterly reliable to spout whatever line is needed. And so you've got to remember, and it's the same with all of the Somali progressives in America at the moment. They are Somali first and progressive tactically, right? These people are tactical progressives. They will tell whatever lies they need to tell to advance their ethnic interests. That's how this works. That's what Mehdi Hasan has done his whole life. When liberal principles are useful, he will use them against you. When he doesn't like them, for example, with the Second Amendment, he'll say, oh, I think we should change the Constitution to get rid of the Second Amendment. So it's not like it's concealed or anything. He's completely straight up. He's not very progressive when he's calling non-Muslims animals and homosexuals pedophiles. It's not a very progressive thing to do, whether you agree with it or not, right? So, but what's interesting, and Callum carries on, realising the UK is going to shit, he decides to leave the US to work for Islamist Qatari state media Al Jazeera, which have been banned in Muslim countries for supporting extremists, incidentally. And so he, as you can see, is exactly the kind of Islamo-communist that is trying to ruin the West. But he is clever. He knows his game. He knows that there's no lie too dirty to tell. He knows that there's no tactic too underhanded to use, because this is about putting you on the back foot and crushing you with your, honestly, with your own desire to be honest. And so I guess let's move on to some rampant honesty, shall we? I'm not going to lie. There were some bits in this debate that I found genuinely hilarious. Well, watch this.
Execution and stuff like that.
The Nazi Holocaust.
Notice how Mehdi just lets that point go, right? So he just assumes, Franco's a fascist dictator, must have killed women and children, doesn't try to substantiate that at all. Notice how tactical he is. But anyway, so this genuinely hilarious, right? I like, it's like a caricature of internet politics come to life, and you can see that Mehdi is just like, okay, what's going on here? Surely I can just lean back into the established morality, and he can. This is how he wins this. To be honest, I think he wins this. But it is funny to see some internet grouper being like, yeah, okay, I'm a fascist, and like, what now, right? But the thing is, it doesn't actually advance your cause at all, right? Because what you're doing is, I mean, this guy's a Catholic, so basically, if this was reversed, it'd be as if Mehdi Hasan sat down and was like, so I actually hate God and want to overthrow Jesus or whatever. And this guy was like, wow, you're kind of sounding like you're Satan and you're a Satanist. And Mehdi was like, yeah, I'm a Satanist. Like, the guy obviously doesn't have anything to do. Hello, bird. I guess. Angry bird wants to get in on it. Sorry, did I mention Satan and you were summoned? Anyway, it's as if, like, Mehdi was like, yeah, I'm pro Satan. The guy would literally be like, okay, well, I'm not, and that would be the end of the conversation. But you could have advanced actually what you feel to be the legitimate moral principles in your political philosophy and made Mehdi at least debate those. I mean, he wouldn't have done it honestly. He would have just been slippery and got around them. You would have had no satisfying result. But I mean, honestly, I think that's mostly to do with the format, frankly. It's just internet blood sports, right? It's just IBS that is being made very profitable by this Jubilee channel. Now, there is you can't argue that the Nazis and fascists didn't win because they had nothing that had some sort of appealing principle within it. Like, the appealing principle is the fear of losing one's country and having someone fighting for it, right? Like, this could have been advanced in the face of Mehdi Hasan's arguments without him just calling you a Nazi, because you don't have to be a Nazi to want to have the majority group of your country having collective ownership over the land, right? You don't have to be a Nazi to have that. Most people believe that. Mehdi Hasan absolutely believes that for his own, like, ancestral countries. He doesn't believe it for your ancestral countries, but he absolutely believes it for his, and he's not a Nazi either, right? So you don't have to step into the negative frame of, oh yes, I'm the bad guy. And actually, I think this is really, really poor form, frankly, as funny as it is. And like I say, I've got to say, genuinely hilarious, very poor form. And I think that the whole thing generally was actually quite a setback for the online right. There's no point LARPing as like a 20th century Italian nationalist movement. You aren't a 20th century Italian political agent. So get with the program. Like, you are something different in the United States right now. I mean, you can be anti-democracy all you like or whatever, but you're not actually these things. And stepping into the frame of being, well, I'm the bad guy. Okay, but that just loses you the argument. You're not persuading anyone. There's any moral validity to the position that you've got. And I think this has just generally hurt the right more broadly. I think this is just looking, I think this looks quite bad. And I don't see, like, it's funny, and I can see why people online are like, yeah, my team. But I don't think the Zoomerwaffen have won this, and I don't think they've persuaded anyone. The closest anyone came was this chap, who actually made some really good arguments and put Mehdi Hasan on the back foot for a while, because he had literally nothing to say about them. And he had to kind of just swing around the argument to get back to calling him an Nazi. But you can see that this hasn't been persuasive. Just by reading the comments, like, people like, well, it's never been easier to understand the rise of Nazism in 1930s Germany. You can see why the Department of Education is the first target. This feels like the beginning of something really bad. All of these have got tens of thousands of upvotes. These are a fair representation of the people watching them. I mean, there's this one. They're not even there to argue a point. They're just excited to finally have an opportunity to verbally spew hate at a brown guy without repercussion. It's like, that's not true. A lot of them were trying to argue a point. Because, like, not all of them are like the guy who's like, yeah, I'm a fascist. A lot of them were just like, no, I'm actually more reasonable and I would like to talk about this thing. But Mehdi Hasan made that kind of debate impossible. He was deliberately driving it to, and like every shitlib on earth wants to do, is just paint you into the corner where you're like, yes, I am a Nazi, right? That's what they're trying to do. They want you to be a Nazi, because Mehdi Hasan literally said it. It's like, I don't debate fascists. It's like, you do. You signed up to this. What kind of people did you think you were going to be talking to? And you spent ages debating all of these people that you obviously think are fascists. And some of them will even say, yeah, I am a fascist when asked. So, like, you do debate fascists. But the point is, his win condition is just saying, I mean, it's literally like Christian saying, oh, well, that guy's a Satanist, right? That guy worships Satan. And therefore, enemy, I don't have to debate him. I mean, like, this guy here actually at the end makes quite a good point. Mehdi has nothing to say to that, because that's obviously true. The problem is, he's literally dismissed, I mean, you can look at his face, he's literally dismissed everything you have to say based on the fact that now you have willingly put yourself in the I am a Nazi position, and you're like, yeah, well, I'm a Nazi, and therefore he just goes, well, that's just Nazi nonsense. Even though that's an accurate description of what liberals actually do. They won't listen. And so everyone's just like, okay, you know, I guess these people are fascists. And what we see with this is the collision between the online Zoomerwaffen sphere and the mainstream shitlib. And the mainstream shitlib, like, honestly, there are way more of them than there are the Zoomerwaffen, frankly. The Zoomerwaffen are numerous on Twitter, but not that numerous. And these sort of debates hitting normies, because millions and millions of people watching this, are like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, how are there basically a bunch of online Nazis? And it's like, okay, but that's not really very helpful for us to have characterized as just the online right. And I really just don't think anything actually productive for us came out of this. And honestly, Mehdi Hasan has taken a huge win here. And, like, unfortunately, I've now got to explain why these guys are actually just retards and not actually Nazis. Although I think they probably are Nazis. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if they are Nazis. I think they're just online spurgs who are just having a good time shoving it in the liberals' face, right? But you could actually have made arguments that, okay, he would have denied, but at least the point is not to persuade the interlocutor or the debate opponent. The point is to persuade the people watching. If you'd persuaded the people watching, actually the American people feel that they're losing their country, and so actually fewer immigrants would be better, so they don't feel like they're losing their country. So they've actually got a substantive claim to the country that they call their own. This would have been more sympathetic, and I think really it's kind of what this guy actually wants, right? Like you can say, oh yeah, no, I'm a Nazi, blah blah blah, or I'm a fascist, blah blah blah, because I've been online for a very long time. But like, take him out of the picture. Like the other ones are not nearly as hardline as him, and I think what they want is just a country that they can call their own. And I think that what mass immigration is doing is taking that from them. And I think it's a very fair feeling that this is being stolen. I mean, like the other guy with the immigration, like that's in Britain, that's totally true. And this doesn't make us Nazis, right? This is not a Nazi position. This is the position of very normal people, actually. But allowing Mehdi Hasan to frame you as actually not very normal people, as actually total freaks that don't need to be listened to, well, like I said, you can see it in the comments. It hasn't won anyone over. And actually, it's just made a lot of people think, oh, right, these guys are weird.